A product of North Redondo Beach. I was actually born here, I was raised here, went to Burby Elementary, Adams, veer off. I didn't go to Redondo, I went to Costa, but nobody's perfect. Anyway, I'm really glad to be here. One of the things I did, well, the smartest things I did, I think, way back in the 1970s and 80s, I think the middle 70s, I was born in 1960, so middle 70s, I was a teenager, and my older sister said, you know what, the lady across the street, her lawn is really long, why don't you go over there, or why don't you cut it, just cut it, she's a senior citizen, it would just be a nice thing to do. So I went over there, I cut her lawn, teenager, who didn't know anything much about it, and I actually did it with a hand over too, so it was tough, got a lot of energy back in those days. And about 2 hours later, we get a knock on the door, and it was a neighbor lady, and she said, "Oh, Mike, thank you so much," and she gave me a $5 bill. And I thought, wow, this is really cool. So I like to think I've never told the story before, but I like to think that's where my career in landscape construction business started. Went to El Camino, got my degree in ornamental horticulture, and have been landscaping for over 30 years. Well, 35 years. I don't know, the decade starts to roll on. 40, right? Okay. So one of the things, though, about 4 years ago, after the last presidential elections, there's a lot of things that people vote on. One of the things was on GMOs, GMO foods. Now, GMOs have been around about 20 years or so. There were no long-term studies on it, and that's a whole different thing, so I'm not really going to talk about that this much, but if you ever want me to talk about it, I'd be more than happy to. But anyway, I started getting a lot of calls from people, and they said, you know what, GMO labeling got voted down. I forgot what the proposition was, or the initiative, but it got voted down, so we want to build our own vegetable gardens. And I said, great, we can do that, we can build them, it's like building Legos, we put drip irrigation system. We put in a lot of vegetable gardens, and then about 2 or 3 months later, people started getting their water bills coming in. And they're like, oh, gee, I don't know if I can afford to grow my own food because, water started going up. Has anybody, 2 questions, has anybody heard there's a drought? I would have asked that question 5 years ago. It's like, huh? Because every time you turn on the faucet, there was always water. And 20 years ago, a little over 20 years ago, my company landscaped the Manhattan Beach Botanical Garden, which was, at that time, was a really cutting-edge garden. It's a native garden, and back then people were like, what? You guys want to do what? You want to create a native garden? Back then, nobody had heard of a native garden. It's over 20 years ago. Now, it's like the cool thing. In fact, the water district's actually giving people, you pull your grass out. Has anybody heard of that? So, it seems like my journey has just kind of been, water conservation. And then we got into building ponds and waterfalls for a while. But the water recirculates, so it doesn't use much water. And then, after this thing about the GMOs and people wanting to grow their own food, I said, you know what? There's got to be a better way. There's got to be a way that we can grow food and that we don't have to use as much water. And so it's like, if you tie all of this together, I started doing the reading and the research, and it's called sustainability. And sustainability, I'll tell you, sustainability, my definition, there's a lot of definitions, you can go to Wikipedia, but my definition of sustainability is this. Sustainability is living today without borrowing from tomorrow. Something we can read. Living today without borrowing from tomorrow. I'm going to show you a scene out of my backyard. Now, I told you I love Redondo Beach. I still live here. I'm in North Redondo. And I'm going to show you a picture of my backyard. One of the pictures of my backyard. Okay, here. Boom. That's my backyard. So I just told you about the definition of sustainability. That's lettuce growing. And it's growing vertically, and it gets better. It grows with water that recycles over and over again. Has anybody heard of gray water? Okay. Now, isn't that the bomb? You take a shower or you wash your clothes. That's one use. And then, you have a plumber or environmental person it actually cuts a hole in your wall, and then you can actually, with that water that you just used, you can use it again to water like your fruit trees. Isn't that great? You use it twice. In fact, West Basin Water District has a big program right now. There's a big push. They're really trying to get people to explore gray water. Well, go ahead.
I just want to make a comment about that. Native plants eat that. So while they're encouraging you to plant native plants, they're encouraging gray water. You got to be very careful about it.
Right, absolutely right. That's a whole different program. In fact, I'm going to be talking a little bit about that. I'm going to for a whole hour next Saturday at the Manhattan Botanical Garden. I'm going to be giving a talk on preparing for El Nino. You want to know how to prepare, because all the evidence is there, and it's pretty scary. So I'm going to talk about how to deal with that, how to deal with El Nino, and I'm going to be considering that too. Okay, so gray water.
I talked to my plumber about the gray water thing, and Torrance said it's against city ordinance to collect gray water.
Okay. 5 years ago, City of LA was against it. They issued 4 permits 5 years ago. Now it's in the thousands.
Is there a permit to do gray water?
Technically, yes. Okay, Charlie.
Is gray water mandatory in all new construction in LA now?
I don't know about that.
In single families, I think they made it so that it can be.
Oh, okay. Well, here's the drought has changed the dynamics of everything. In fact, did anybody read the Daily Breeze? 2 days ago, front page headline, right in the middle, says DWP raising rates because we're saving water. They're saving too much water. They have an infrastructure to pay. They've got to pay their employees, their trucks, their big buildings, their insurance. They're a business, and if they they're getting the revenues, and it says, oh, they have a budget, and if they have to pay their employees this, and then they're only bringing in this much, well, they're like, well, we have to pay our bills, and we can't go out of business. We're a public entity, so the only way we know how to make money is to charge more. So by saving water, water prices are going up. By not saving water, you go up to that higher tier, and you're going to be paying more for your water than your rent. It's terrible. But are we helpless? Are we like little mice that are just helpless? We just have to take it? No. There's something that we can do. And I'm going to go on to our next slide here. Okay. So I talk about how it all begins with the big picture. It all begins here. Science of nature teaches us about community. And I quote John Muir on this. When we try to pick out anything by itself, we find it hitched to everything else in the universe. So I'm kind of backing up a little bit here. Okay, this is some of the big challenges we have as a society. We have a big mobile oil refinery in Torrance. We have even closer, we have Chevron. Does anybody know why El Segundo is El Segundo? Yeah, it came about 100 years ago. They named the whole town because it's the second plant, Chevron plant. So that's how the whole city got its name. Okay, so here's the thing. The big picture is everything is connected with their health too. So I'm gonna shift things. Remember, sustainability. It's about a whole system. It's not just about picking up trash. Come on in. Yeah. Okay, so it's not just about picking up trash. So there's the big picture on top, the earth. There's the lady that's, Redondo. Okay, and then you see some organic strawberries, and then you see blood. All this is really tied together. Everything's connected. At the cellular level, we're connected to food. Our food is everything. And I remember I got this, I started getting very, very fascinated by it when I read about GMOs. It just opened up this whole world to me, and I'm like, wow, the world needs to know this. Speaking of health, how do you define success? Isn't this generally a lot of people? I want the big house, I want the big car. But then I'm going to add a tagline to this. Personal success without fulfillment is the ultimate failure. So you can have all the money in the world. Stephen Jobs, do you really think with billions of dollars in the world, in the bank, do you think, what was he thinking about? He knew about when he was going to die, what day, what week, what month. Do you really think he was thinking about his billions of dollars? It had to go beyond that. So no matter how wealthy or successful we are, success without fulfillment is the ultimate failure. So living the life of our dreams means nothing without our health. It's super high on the urgency factor. Now, outstanding health begins with making a commitment to ourselves. Now, the problem with modern society is that it seems that everybody is trying to be skinny. And I'll tell you, that skinny should not be the goal. The goal should be that we want to be lean. And lean is an acronym that stands for lifestyle, exercise, attitude, and nutrition. So this is a goal that we can live with. This is something, so you know what, our body types are what they are, so why wrap yourself with guilt? Again, this is a goal that we can all strive to be. Okay, little thing here. Medicine is not healthcare. Food is healthcare. Medicine is sick care. You're managing sickness. Okay, so this all ties in with food. Nutrition, we just had a talk, so I'm not going to talk a lot about the nutritional part because we just had a great, Diane did a great job on this. 34% of the U.S. population is obese and have health issues, and those are just the children. Almost 3 billion adults have weight-related diseases. So we need to, nobody's going to, if you think that somebody's going to knock on your door and they're going to say, I'm here, from the U.S. government, and I'm here to tell you everything about health, nutrition, what's good for your body, I'm sorry. That's not going to happen. You've got to take control of your own body, of your life. You've got to do it for yourself. Nobody's going to do it for you. Why do you think there's still McDonald's? If you think you're getting healthy ingredients, let's say you're a vegan or vegetarian, and you go to McDonald's, and you say, okay, surely there's got to be something here. Did you know that McDonald's French fries, you would assume that they're potatoes and then fried in grease, 2 ingredients. Okay, well that would surely fit under those, remember we just heard a good presentation, nothing more than 5 ingredients. You do the research. McDonald's French fries have 19 ingredients. And they're not vegan. If you're like, don't want animal products, you'll get them with McDonald's French fries. This is all online. Okay, now this is something that, this is Louis Ignarro. He's a Nobel Prize winner. I'm a real big believer that if you're going to study about food and stuff, you should have science behind it, not just buzzwords or fad words. This is a really, really cool thing. Who here has ever been a doctor? Every hand would go up. Who here has ever gotten medicine? Every hand would go up. Okay, when we're little kids, if it got real bad, you go to the doctor. Okay, did you know that the reason why I had the doctor up there, okay, so he won a Nobel Prize. What did he find in his studies? Everything in our body, all our energy is tied to our blood, our heart, and then the heart being able to get that blood out, healthy blood to the vessels. Every part of our body is connected. This is your artery right here, and so those are your blood cells. And what that doctor found was that when you eat right, your body, your blood, there's actually something called an endothelium layer. Big word, but all it means is it's medicine bottles. It creates something called nitric oxide that tells your body make the medicine. So if your body needs to repair, let's say you run a marathon. I ran one too many back in the 80s, ran about 50 marathons. I really tore my body down a lot, but my body was able to come back. And if you do any type of exercise, you tear your body down. But if you eat right, it actually repairs itself. And so that's what this is saying, is that there's microscopic medicine bottles that the medicine bottle opens up and it allows the medicine out. It also works the reverse way. If you eat bad, the medicine bottle's shut. And then you got to go to a doctor, you get the testing, and hopefully he's going to give you the right type of medicine, the right amount, and he's going to charge you for it. Okay? So isn't it better to have your body eat right, have your body make your own medicine, give you the right amount, and it's free. It's amazing. This is actually science. You can look this up. You can look up that doctor, Louis Ignarro, won the Nobel Prize for He went to UCLA School of Medicine. I actually know somebody who's had discussions with him. And it's really cutting edge science. This whole thing about eating right isn't just a fad. This is science-based. Okay, so this is a great slide. The world's best kept secret is out. Your body produces its own medicine, but it doesn't when you're a couch potato. So, there's the couch potato. Come on in. Okay, couch potato, eating french fries, hamburgers, and so on, potato chips. And the blood sticks together, and these medicine bottles right here, you can see they're just coated with this sticky stuff. And they're closed. It will not allow the medicine to come out. And then, how to open the pharmacy. Eat more fruits, vegetables. If you do meat, I would do the wild-caught salmon. That's about the most healthy thing you can do if you're going to eat meat. Okay, here it is again. A healthy endothelium, that layer in all your vessels, blood vessels, releases a chemical messenger called nitric oxide, which prompts the body to make its own medicine. So, science-based. This is it. This is it, folks. Write it down. Look at it later. It's amazing stuff. So, this is a good one. I want to give you another goal. Besides lean, I want to also talk to you about what the goal should be as we get older. As we get older, our goal should be that everything works and nothing hurts. Isn't that a great goal? Okay, and we can do that. So, medicine, so if you eat right, as we just had the speaker reporting, you want to raise the lows. You know, there's antidepressants, pain relievers, anti-inflammatories. Eating right will actually, the medicine bottles inside of you will actually do that, and it will lower the blood cholesterol and lower the blood pressure. So, nitric oxide, that's the magic piece. I don't want to get too into the science of it, but just to show you what the end result is. For our heart, okay. So, he's eating all the right stuff. He's exercising. He's doing that lean lifestyle, exercise, attitude, nutrition. Look at, they're not stuck together. They're actually separated, so that means more energy. And look at those medicine bottles. The medicine's just flowing. Isn't that amazing? So, here we have again. This is just a review. Lifestyle, exercise, attitude, and nutrition. And it's not that hard to do in today's world. We Google this stuff, and it happens. Okay, now also too, just to make eating a little bit more simplified, I like to. I'm also a certified health coach too, just something I do for fun. There's something called traffic light eating, and so I like to, especially if I'm dealing with kids, I like to say, here, this is a green food, this is yellow, this is red. I'll illustrate a little bit more. We have green light foods. That means go. So foods that are not manufactured, they're naturally colorful, they don't have artificial colors in them. They can be eaten raw, low in calories, high in nutrients. Eat as much as you want. And usually they're found around, I'll make a comment about the process thing too. Typically when you shop, you go to Vaughn's or you go to, it used to be Albertsons, whatever they are now. Okay, so you go around the center of the store, and where they usually have produce, it's on the outer edges. What's in the middle? Okay, the cake boxes, all the processed stuff that's in boxes. I think that's what people generally think about. So when you start eating food, I mean, you eat raw almonds. I mean, you're starting to process that in your mouth. You do the digestive process. So I think what it is anything that's in a box, potato chips, packaged stuff that's ground up, that they pretty much they sell it for taste. So I'll have a few things. Okay, yellow light foods. Foods they're not as nutrient dense, but they're okay. But you want to use caution. And then what about that muffin? red light foods. I'm not saying stop, well, I'm not saying stop eating, but I'm saying stop, think about it. And I got something from Tony Robbins, a motivational speaker. He's about 10,000 people over at LA Convention Center this weekend. And I got something from him, a quote, I'll never forget. He said, your destiny, the decisions you make are made by, that will create your destiny. Your destiny is created by the decisions you make every day. So every day we make thousands of decisions. So your decision, should I go to McDonald's or should I go over to MyFitFoods? Or if you don't have time, or if you have time, you know, do I go to dinner? Do I go out to Cheesecake Factory and have that big slice of cheesecake? Or do I have something that's more healthy? Your decisions you make every day, all of those add up to who you are today. Do not use your stomach as a treasure. I need not say any more on this. Okay, you're not born a winner, you're not born a loser, you're born a chooser. So, you know, nobody's born rich, nobody's born poor, nobody's born anything. We're born choosers. That's the only thing in life we have is our ability to choose. Okay, make the right choice. Now, why is organic the right choice for parents? Well, we don't, I'll just kind of glide through some of these. Phytonutrients, okay, you could go to you can take a multivitamin, which has, selects like maybe 10 grams of vitamin A and 5 grams of vitamin C, it actually has bigger percentages in that. But the idea is that, you can get a multivitamin, or you can bite into an apple. Now, did you know an apple may not have as much percentage of vitamin A? However, when it works in conjunction with all, and this, by the way, is all the stuff that's in vitamin A. When you bite into an apple, it's a powerhouse that you're biting into. And that synergy, now what do I mean by synergy? My company, we build waterfalls and ponds and stuff. Okay, if you have a 50 pound, let's say one man can pick up 50 pounds. So he picks a 50-pound boulder, and that's his limit. He can't pick up anymore. Okay, now if you have a boulder that's 130 pounds, you're thinking, well, you're going to need 3 guys. Not really. You're going to, if you get 2 guys, there's a thing called synergy. When you have 2 people working together, they can actually lift a whole lot more weight than if it was just one single person. Same thing with fruits and vegetables. They have this synergy inside that they can do much more than if you were just to get it in a pill capsule form. And so, a couple of buddies of mine, about a 3,000 pound boulder. Now, that's Photoshopped, of course. Just to illustrate, though, that the power of synergy, I thought I'd do a photo there. Okay, we have to start asking ourselves, how long are we going to ignore the obvious that our meat-eating culture is not environmentally sustainable? I don't have time to go into this right now, but you just want that aside. You are what you eat. And for example, chicken, if your chickens are eating GMO corn, the eggs they produce are not going to be nutritionally as good for you as like free range. And if you ever want to see Redondo Beach chickens, I've got about 30 of them in my backyard, and I'll talk more about that later. I got a micro farm in my backyard. Okay, now we're going to go into a little bit about if you want to say okay, we've all heard of the drought, and we want our water bill to go down. We all want to make a difference with the drought. Did you know if you eat 1 less hamburger a week, that's the equivalent of a whole week worth of taking a bath? I mean, you can really make a huge difference in this drought just by eating less meat and having more of a plant-based diet. Here's another one too. And these are just some of the statistics. 144 hamburgers a year. That's like one every few days. Over 100,000 gallons of water. That's a lot of bath water. Okay, a plant-based diet indirectly consumes about 600 gallons less of water per day. And the reason for that being is, what do cows eat? What do cows eat? They eat grass. They eat products from the ground. What do the products of the ground eat? Water. A lot of water. The water district's telling us, pull up your grass because it sucks up so much water. Well, what does a cow eat? They eat grass. They eat a lot of it. And so if you really want to make a difference, eat less meat. I'm not saying eat, and actually if you don't eat land animals, which take a lot of water, then you can eat seafood. I mean, they live in water. So it's really not, and it's actually better for you, especially the wild-caught salmon. Oh, sockeye salmon. Okay, just a little slide, keep us on track here with health. So weight loss, okay, so weight loss is what people should, weight loss is what people are after. Get on that scale, you weigh less, that's a, what you want is you want fat loss. We don't have an overweight problem, we have an over-fat problem. And so, want to keep us on track with that. Okay, next slide. Drought. This, by the way, is a current picture of California's second largest water reservoir. So we are in trouble. I mean, this is science. This is NASA came out about a year ago and said that, no, they came out about earlier this year, and they said that California has, Jay Famichetti, a senior water scientist, said we have about a year of water left in reserve. And people started panicking. Who you have is a higher authority at NASA, right? Because they all these neat scientific tools. So there were times said, okay, well, no, we won't be out of water, just out of water in California, but they're going to be piping it in. They have always piped it in. Does anybody know how much water Southern California uses? 1.5 gallons, or 1.5 billion gallons per day of water. They pipe in. 20% of our electricity is used to bring in that water. So when you waste water, you're also wasting electricity. I'll open you up to aeroponics. So I asked, or I said that people were interested in growing food and saving water. So if you are, there's something I want you to explore. It's called aeroponics. So it saves over, this is Epcot World, Disney World. They have Chicago O'Hare Airport. You can grow on the roofs. There's restaurants growing them on 6 stories in Manhattan, New York. If you want some examples of this, I have a microfarm in my backyard, aeroponic. Where the water, there's a 20-gallon chamber right here, the water, tiny little pump, pushes water up there, and it's all self-contained. So the result is you can grow food in about half the time, and it recycles water. It saves about 90 to 95% water over a traditional soil garden. And it's vertical. So it's amazing stuff. Okay, and then you can put them into a landscape. So I have here, it's kind of disguised. You could get creative and put some stuff around. That's at Manhattan Beach, house over in the tree section. If you have a koi pond, this is called aquaponics, because what we did was instead of using a pump in the system right here, we put a secondary pump right here. This is something I was already built a koi pond, and then we have the water shooting up here to the pond, nutrient-rich pond water, goes up here, you can see the lettuce and tomatoes growing stuff, and then it goes back down and drains back down here. What do fish produce? They produce ammonia. So this ammonia actually feeds the plants, and then it takes the ammonia, and then it sends it back to the pond. Great stuff. Drip irrigation saves water. You want to save, it's a great way to save water. So these are native plants with drip irrigation, and then you cover it with mulch. If you want to know more about that, like I said, next Saturday at the Manhattan Beach Redondo Aquarium, I'm giving a talk on this from 10 to 11 in the morning. Okay, foods that boost your immune system, vitamin C, vitamin E, and so on. 12, I'm sorry?
Is that your zinc?
Oh, zinc. I'll go back.
Oh,
Garlic.
yeah.
Omega-3 fatty acids. Now this I got from the Tony Robbins, he has his own thing on health and wellness. Amazing stuff. He's able to simplify. This right here, 12 steps of pure energy, gifts that you can give yourself. Aerobic energy, essential oils. If anybody knows about omega oils, they're really great for, especially omega-3s. if you can go to Whole Foods, it's one of the only places I know where you can get it. There's this stuff called Udo's Oil, U-D-O. And it's this perfect blend put together by a PhD named Erasmus Udo. Anyway, you can get it at Whole Foods. I drink a shot in the morning. I drink a shot in the afternoons. Helps me keep my weight off, and it just balances everything. It kind of like arthritis runs in my family, and so I felt it coming on. I started drinking the Udos, and it kind of like the Tin Man in the Wizard of Oz, or putting oil. Yeah, that's what the Udo's oil does. So the essential oils are really good.
How do you spell it?
U-D-O. Udo's oil. Whole Foods. Whole Foods has it. Yeah, it's a perfect blend of omega-369. And I have a shake every morning. It's a protein shake. I actually put the shot of Udo's oil in it. And it tastes amazing. Amazing for you. Right, I would suggest go on Facebook and you can read about it. And Udo's oil. Okay, help save water with our plant-based meals. On average, like if you do a vegetarian diet, you'll use about half the water that you would if you're having a meat-based diet. Now, get inspired and create something that inspires other people. And so, that's what I'm devoted to right now. I'm devoted to inspiring everybody, empowering everybody to say, you know what, we want to empower our own body's natural processes, open up that pharmacy by eating right and eating healthy and getting some exercise. But Michael Jordan, I can accept failure. Everyone fails at something, but I cannot accept not trying. So you have the 10-day challenge before you. I promise you, if you do this 10-day challenge, it's going to change your life. About 10 years ago, I went to a Tony Robbins event, and he had this thing about health and wellness, and he said, you know what, the stuff I was talking to you about today. And so I thought, because there was not a bigger meat eater than I was back 10 years ago. Every day, having steak for lunch and chicken and just fried foods. I ate really bad. And I did like Tony Robbins has a 10-day challenge. I just cold turkey. I'm like, okay, I'm going to try this. My health, my energy levels improved so amazingly. I just felt like Superman. I thought, I'm never going to go back to the old way of eating again. Being fit feels so good. Nothing tastes as good as being fit feels. I'll put it that way. The question isn't who's going to let me, the question is who's going to stop me. So you've got to be determined. And the time for action is now. There's no backup emergency planning. So this whole idea about water conservation, about taking care of our health, aquaponics, aeroponics, all of this kind of ties together. And if you want more information, next Saturday, I'll tell you, next Saturday and the first Saturday of every month, I host something called a sustainability event at my house, which is 2609 Vargas Way, Redondo. You can see me afterwards, I'll give you a card. But it's the first Saturday, so the next one is going to be 2 weeks from today, from 2 to 4 p.m. How to build, so I'm going to be talking about how to build a veggie garden that recycles water, how to save 90% water on your organic garden. I have a 5,000-gallon rainwater harvesting system underground in my backyard. You can actually see this. PBS television was there a few months ago. They were doing some filming. And there's my website down there, enviroscapela.com. So I try to make everything pretty. So I try to make sustainability pretty, and I try to make it so that it's got I don't have nothing to sell you. My whole goal is to inspire you and to empower you to get healthy, you guys. And I think that if all of us do this, and the cost is that if we don't do this, if you don't change anything now, people that are having a bad diet and they don't do anything about it now, what's the cost a year from now, 2 years from now, 5 years from now? Will it be poor health? Will it be death? I don't know. But all I do know is that if we start on a positive, lifestyle, exercise, attitude, and nutrition, it will put you on the most amazing path you've ever been. So, I think That's about it. So you know what? You might be, maybe there's some doubts you have. Maybe there's some fears. And if you have fears, because there's a storm out there. There's a huge storm. And the fear will tell you, you can't do this. You cannot face the storm. And you have to have the resolve to look the storm straight in the eye and say,